Hey everyone, welcome to the Inspirational Corner with me, your host, Stylisha Bowden, where we encourage you here to live bold, live loud, and live authentically without apology. Welcome to another new episode of this podcast. I hope you all are doing well. Some states are still in quarantine. I hope you all are being safe. Where I live, we are still somewhat in quarantine. Some things have opened up. However, taking care of yourself, taking care of your health and your family health and your loved ones' health is so important. So make sure you're doing that. And with that said, today for this episode, I am discussing the beauty and the importance of being yourself. Now, this subject to me hits close to home because I've been through so many things in my own personal journey in this human experience that we call life. And one thing I have learned that when you don't know who you are and how powerful you are, and that the gifts and talents that you have are meant to impact the world, you do yourself such an injustice. It is so important to spend time in getting to know yourself. I remember years ago, um, I could say in my 20s, I was a people pleaser. And I never wanted to say no to people. I always wanted to please everybody. Yes was like my favorite word. I was always trying to convince other people that I'm a nice person. And I was always trying to make everybody like me. And just when I was given, I feel and know now uh, through my journey that the things that I was doing just to be validated or to be loved or liked, I would give out of the wrong type of motive. I was giving to be validated by other people to give me uh, a seal of approval, which I never needed their seal of approval in the first place. But when you don't know your self worth and you don't know how beautiful you are, and that no matter of your flaws or how many flaws you have, those things are there to make you beautiful and to add those quirky things to you. And so, with that said, it's so important to take time out to get to know yourself. And even in this time of still going through quarantine and dealing with so many things outside of us, this time focusing on your inner self is so important. And the reason I talk about the inner self a lot, because a lot of us don't never want to face who we really are. I remember in maybe 2004, I can't remember, maybe 2003, 2003 time frame. I was stationed in I think I was I was stationed in Sicily, and I remember this is when Juanita Bynum book came out, Matters of the Heart, Matters of the Heart. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror during that time and stage in my life, and I said, I didn't like myself. I really was at a point in my life that I really didn't like who I was. I didn't love myself, and I really didn't know who I was because I allowed different things in my past to define who I was, the traumatic things that I went through to define who I was. And I just really didn't like who I was because I wasn't happy with myself. I knew how to make other people happy, but I wasn't making myself happy. And this is my quote. And I thought about it today that I am not a clown. It's not up to me to make other people happy, but it's important to make myself happy and do the things that I desire in my life. Clowns get paid to be funny and to make people joyful and happy. And that is not my choice of career. So it's not my job to please everybody and to make sure everybody is comfortable, because in reality, everybody's not going to be comfortable with who you are and what you do and how you express yourself. And as I have gotten older, and I always like to say better, but as I have gotten better in my journey on this human experience, I'm learning to just be me. And I've wasted enough time being different versions of other people or different versions of what other people wanted me to be, to say the least. And I've gotten to a stage and age in my life where I'm comfortable with being who I am, and those that may be uncomfortable with me just being a very expressive person. I'm a very a lot of people say a very straightforward person, and I'm not the type of person that like to play games. I'm just like, I'm very expressive, and I'm a genuine person, and I like to be around genuine people. I'm connected to people that's genuine, don't have ulterior motive and trying to do something else but be yourself. And I'm always connected or attracted to people that's just truly living their truth and truly being who they are unapologetically. And I use that word a lot, unapologetically, because some of us, or most of us, are scared to be ourselves unapologetically. We fear rejection. We fear the idea of being ourselves. Like I told you in 2003, I didn't like myself because I wasn't being true to who I needed to be. And at that time, I didn't know who I was, because I didn't spend enough time to get to know who I was. And when I started reading Matters of the Heart, that was just the beginning of me going into my inner journey of loving Stylisha and accepting myself, the good, the not so good, and all those things in between. And knowing that believing in myself, accepting myself, is a true honor for the world. Because when I can be myself, I am giving other people permission, in which they don't need my permission, but I'm helping other women to stand tall and be themselves unapologetically. And with that said, it took until I got pretty much in a position in my life where I was in a state all by myself, no family. My last duty station where I live now, here in South Carolina, no family here, no friends, nobody around me. And it was really a mirror image moment, because I had to sit there with my own hurt, my own pain, my own trauma. Because at that time, my 2-year-old daughter passed away, and I was still raising my oldest daughter. Now she's 18, but at the time she was only 5 years old. So, and I was a single mom, still, been a single mom through this whole journey. And I was a young single mom, 28 years old, and trying to deal with the emotion of losing a child on top of raising another child and not really knowing who I was. And so in this moment, God used this desolate place as a place for me to come face to face with myself. And I want you all out there to know that was the hardest thing to do in the last, 13 years. I had to come face to face with myself. And it takes a brave, courageous, strong person to stop running away from themselves and stop running away from their problems, and to start facing themselves. When you start facing yourself, it's going to be uncomfortable, because thoughts, emotions, feelings, everything is going to come at you to make you feel inadequate, to make you dislike yourself. And you're going to have so many things going on in your mind. But one thing I don't regret is dealing with my inner issues, my traumas in this human experience that I call life, and facing the things that I needed to face, and to now say that I truly love myself. I truly believe in putting myself first and putting my ideas and thoughts first. And I give out of a space of love and not out of a space of feeling obligated, like I need to be that person's superhero, you know. And I always question when that old persona of me comes up, I'm like, okay, why am I doing this? And if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it, because it's so important to know who you are, because you will know your triggers, you will know what's for you and what's not, what you want to do and what you don't want to do. So many times, especially as women, we force ourselves to do something and be something that we really don't want to do. We'll say yes to things that we really don't want to do, and we'll say no to the things that we want to do. We'll deny ourselves and deprive ourselves of the life that we really want to have, because we're scared of the judgment from the world. And like I said, being an ex-people pleaser, when I was a people pleaser, I just wanted to make everybody happy. Everybody had to be happy, but I was self-destructing. Pieces of me was just withering away because I wasn't doing what was best for me. And today I really want to encourage you, and through this episode, I want you to understand that there is a beauty of being yourself. No matter how refined or unrefined that you are, when I was in relationships, the different guys would tell me I'm a diamond in the rough, and those type of sayings would make me feel like I wasn't enough. Like, I'm a diamond in the rough. I'm not rough. And, even if I do come off rough, I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I'm from the east side of Detroit. And so that part of me has cultivated a part of my toughness. And I'm not ashamed of that. I used to be ashamed of it. But you know what? That does not make me less feminine than another woman. My femininity is different. You know, I have a strong exterior due to my growing up and where I'm from, living on the east side of Detroit, and and growing up in the environment I grew up in. I have a strong exterior, but those that have the privilege of getting to know me know that when you get beyond that, and when I get to know you, there's a heart connection with me, and I'm very careful of protecting my space and my peace, and especially my peace of mind at this point in my life. And so when you start to embrace the beauty of who you are, you bloom, you flourish, and you begin to see yourself the way God sees you. And that is so important. It is so important that when you decide to go through the journey of facing yourself, of saying, you know what, I don't like certain things about myself and I want to improve and I want to refine those things, this is where you allow God to come in your life, if that's what you choose to believe in. I know for me, that's what I believe in. For myself, is that the Lord is a great part of my life. And so one thing I've learned, that I don't need to prove, chase, run after people, things, thoughts, ideas, no matter what. What is for me will never pass me. All I have to do is just be me unapologetically. When I am me, when I'm in a position to believe in myself, when I put myself in a position, that's the key thing. When I put myself in a position to just let things flow and be confident, things attract attract to me with ease and effortlessness. With ease and effortlessness, because I'm putting myself in a position to say, I honor myself, I love myself, and I choose to be who I am. I choose to show up as myself, not the version of what other people want to see or the version of what I think other people want me to be, but I choose to show up as a version of myself. And when you choose to go out in this world as a version of yourself, then you will see doors and things open up for you with ease, because you have put in the inner work to deal with the uncomfortable things that some of us don't like to deal with. So there is such a beauty in being yourself. And I know for me, meditation is one way it helps me have an awareness of the things in my life and within myself. Uh, Reading daily devotions, reading my Bible, and, you know, having fun. We usually don't have enough fun in our lives. I love to be learning at any type of time of my life. I love learning, period. And learning is important to me. I'm being in education. I'm an educator, so education is important to me. And I'm a nerd. I love to read. I love personal development. I love art and all these things that I love that makes me the very intellectual person that I am. And I used to try to hide that I'm not an intellectual person, or I'm not a very quirky, funny. I love to laugh. I have a sense of humor, so I love to laugh. And when you're uptight, type of person like I used to be, and due to the traumatic things I went through, I was not myself. I was uptight. I was very cold hearted. And I was very, cold, but considering the things I went to after losing my daughter, it changed me in so many ways. And, I got tired of being hurt by people over and over again, but I had to realize that I was given to the wrong people, given to people that did not appreciate the person that I was in their lives. And I can't totally blame them, because if you don't know your worth and you're giving, oversharing to people that really don't love themselves, and takers rarely set limits. It's a quote that says something like this, that takers rarely set limits, but givers need to set boundaries. And when I was oversharing and overgiving, I realized that was a problem for me, because why was I doing it? And now, being at this point and place in my life, I realize that my presence alone is just enough. When I show up in a place, my spirit within and how I come and affect that atmosphere, being a thermostat woman, is important. Setting the temperature and atmosphere for the environment, instead of being a thermometer woman, changing and camouflaging yourself and not being true to who you are, and being, like I said before, a people pleaser, because you're changing with the environment. You're being something that you're really not, because you don't really know who you are. So I want to give you all 3 ways on why there is a beauty in being yourself. The first thing I would say is peace. When you take time to get to know yourself, like I said before, and go through all the inner work to deal with your insecurities, because we all have them, and to figure out what you need to do and what works for you, you're going to have a peace of mind for the journey, because you will have a clear mindset and have clarity to know, okay, this is what I need to do for me. This is where I need to go. The second thing is awareness. For me, I meditate for self-awareness and pray and do other things for self-awareness. The last thing is embracing yourself. Embrace where you are. Embrace the uncertainty uncertainty. I'm going to get that word correct, but it's okay if I don't. Embrace being in a position that you won't have all the answers. Your vocabulary won't be perfect, or maybe how you pronounce a word won't be perfect, just like I did with uncertainty. However, when you start to embrace everything about yourself, the good, the not so good, the messy parts, you will realize that God did not make a mistake on how he created you. God did not make a mistake for you to be who you are. He made you who you are because he knew that other people was connected to your gift and your talent, and that those particular people were going to be drawn to you because you had a message for them. No matter what you do, whether it's in a career or whatever that your purpose is on this earth and in this lifetime. And I know as a writer, my writing is not for everybody. And I'm okay with that, because in reality, my products, my books, and my services is not going to be for everybody. I'm not trying to appeal to the masses. I'm only trying to appeal to those that are going to embrace or will embrace my message of healing, of of surviving, or I say this, of healing and thriving, and no longer being a victim but being a victor. That is my audience. People that have been through traumatic things, women that have been through traumatic things, because that's my audience. To uplift women, empower women that have been through traumatic things, have felt rejected, have felt thrown to the wayside, and feel like they will never be where they need to be because of their the traumatic past or the traumatic things in their life. They allow those things to define who they are, and that's not true. And so when you embrace and take on that cloak of confidence and awareness, things start to change in your life. You start to blossom. And when you start to blossom in this world, things start to easily attract themselves to you. And it's a quote that says, the minute you choose to do what you want to do, you start living a different life. When you start realizing that there is so much beauty in who you are, a lot of people would say a beautiful mess, but when you know that being yourself is about growth, and sometimes growth is often uncomfortable, facing those things about yourself that sometimes can be hard, and you have to deal with them. So I want you all today to know that even in my story and my journey in my life, I had to always go through periods of healing, and it didn't stop. I'm always going through periods of healing, things that I thought I was over and needed to heal from, and I wasn't. And I just want to encourage you, there's such a strong beauty in being yourself. And when you truly know who you are, you won't need other people to approve of you, because you approve yourself. You love yourself. And I think that's so important. That is the key to life to me. When you start letting go of all the ideas of what other people think about you, and, well, should I say this or should I not say that, because I don't want people to think this, or should I not put this on my social media, or should I put this on my social media because I want people to think this, or whatever. I am giving you permission, and I'm going to tell you this: you don't need my permission. You need to give yourself permission to be you, because there's a beauty and there's a strength. God created you for a reason and a purpose and a time in this life to be who you are. And I want to leave you with a quote by Tracy Ellis Ross. And the quote says, "It takes a lot of courage to discover who you are and trust who that is, and then allow that person to actually come out." I want to repeat this quote because I think it's powerful. It takes a lot of courage to discover who you are and trust who that is, and then allow that person to actually come out. I want you all to take this time being in quarantine to trust yourself, believe in yourself, take the time to know who you are, and once you get that confidence and you start to figure out, okay, this is who I am, this is what I like, this is what I love. Once you start accumulating all those scattered pieces of who you thought you were and who you really wasn't, and then you start to come together like a perfect masterpiece and start to realize who you are, then be brave enough to be that person without apology. So, with that said, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Inspirational Corner, where we encourage you here to live bold, live loud, and live authentically. Have a great day, everybody.